Hey, welcome back to the podcast. I am Justin Stacy.
I'm Nate Thomas.
I'm Josh Matney.
And we're rolling right along in our holiday specials. We are to Veterans Day. And for Veterans Day, I think, Nate, I believe may have been your movie choice. We are talking about Top Gun. So, Top Gun, this was my first watch. I won't spoil my reaction right now, but I will say that I don't know that I enjoy any military movie. I've come to that conclusion that almost any military, I can't think of the last one that I've actually enjoyed. So there's your hint as to my reaction to this. And I don't know why that is. I mean, I guess I'm becoming more and more of a pacifist. Although I will say that this movie is not, I mean, there wasn't a lot of action, a lot of war scenes or anything. This was basically just training, right? So this should have been the movie that I would enjoy of a military movie, and we'll see if I did or not. So what was your all's first reactions of rewatching this?
This was an MTV music video with a recruitment message.
It was one of the first of those. Because you got to keep in mind.
It was pretty good. I will say I got bored after during the second.
It took me two sittings.
But like the first and the last scene or last act, I'm like, oh, this is good. But like that whole like love scene and I'm just kind of like, I was on my phone most of the time.
Phones ruin movies. Like the fact that we now always have an outlet to do something else besides watching a movie, whereas before we would have been kind of forced to suffer through it, especially if you're in the movie theater. You're just going to have to suffer through it. But now we actually have a phone to where we don't have to suffer through it. It kind of ruins movies where we should at least give a bad movie a chance if you didn't like it. But now you don't have to.
I don't want to say it was phones that ruined it for me. I would say it's probably social media like Vine and TikTok, where the attention span like mine, it's like, okay.
Wait, are you guys the ones that stay on your phones in the theater?
No, I'm not.
I don't.
Because if that's the case, we are not friends. When the movie theater was open here in town, I went to the movies one time with my ex-wife, and we're sitting in the theater, and there was only about 20 people in there. And these people about 3 rows in front of us were on their phone, and I could see it. And finally, I was just like, hey, put it away or go outside. So the guy turned around in his seat, and, I'm not a very big guy. This guy was 2 of me. And I remember thinking, well, if I'm going to die, I've died over a good cause. He put his phone away, so I was okay with it. I can't stand that.
The only time I ever pull out my phone during a movie is when there is an actor or actress in the movie that I recognize, that I should know the name of, but I can't think of it, but I know the movies they come from. So I'll look it up really quick on the Internet Movie Database. Because if I don't do that, it's going to ruin the movie for me. Because I'm just going to sit there and think, what movie were they from, or who is that? Who is that person? So that's the reason why I would pull out my phone.
I'm not podcasting with you anymore. You're not a movie fan. This will be my last episode of Pop Culture. I can't. These guys.
This is your retirement episode.
Yeah, I quit. I know you got to get us in, so I want to wait. But
all right. So remember to like our content, subscribe to our YouTube channel, share, comment, do all that jazz. Sit back, relax, put your feet up as we open a bottle of Pop Culture.
We're gonna talk about some really cool stuff. Well, Josh, Nate, and I, we're gonna blow this thing up. We're gonna talk about the movies you love. And if you don't, well, that's just tough. But we're gonna talk about shows that are awesome. You'll say, whoa, when we talking about Blossom. This will be your one and only stop for everything nerdy in a bottle of pop culture.
All right. Okay, let's first describe this movie badly. I'm going to go first. This was an 80s Tom Cruise, like sex icon chick flick that with a military theme is what this was.
Describe it badly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have one. I want to, but I don't have one.
You apparently do. You're just afraid to say it.
I think I described it on the intro, the MTV music video with the recruitment.
You did, actually, yeah.
Message.
Yeah. It's the first one of those. Of course, you got to keep in mind, what did MTV come around in like 1982 or 83? Top Gun came out in what, 87? So it was the height of MTV being music videos.
Yeah.
I can see that connection. I remember when MTV came around.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the fun facts that I read about this movie is that this was heavily used to recruit for the Navy.
Sure
There's
was.
Yeah, they shot up like
a
couple 100% during that time.
Yeah, and apparently Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer both were very hesitant about doing this movie. I didn't read why, but they both were. And the way they convinced Tom Cruise to do it was they took him up in some of the fighter jets and did some stunts with him and stuff. And that convinced him because he enjoyed doing that so much. So I thought that was kind of neat.
I will say, like the directing and the shots with the actual aircrafts were pretty cool. Like I thought the directing on this was good. I just felt like the second act was just boring to me. But like other than that, like it's a very good movie. Like you can definitely enjoy it for it being like kind of B-ish.
It's a
kind of campy.
It's a fun movie. What I didn't care for the most part is I feel like at least half the movie was just a chick flick. It was just Tom Cruise and that what was her name, Charlie? Was that or the Karen McGillis?
Kelly McGillis?
Yeah.
Kelly McGillis.
Yes.
Her character.
That's who it was.
It was just them hooking up in secret, and like
and Val Kilmer jealous.
There was basically two pretty boys in this movie with Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer playing the other. And I don't know. I shouldn't expect much, I guess, of Tom Cruise movies because I feel like a lot of his movies is this. He ends up having some crazy bedroom scenes with the actresses. And that's what he's famous for. But
Tom Cruise then wasn't Tom Cruise yet.
That's true.
That's
true.
This
is probably
this was the movie that's 40 years old by today.
True, but it's hard not to.
That every week on our podcast.
It's hard not to when you have all of his movies in mind and you're going into it and then you're like, you know what? I should have expected this. It's a typical Tom Cruise movie.
But this was really Risky Business, and then this are the first real Tom Cruise movie. There might be one more, but these were the first. This is what made him a megastar.
And he's kind of stuck with mostly the action genre. I mean, this is still kind of an action movie, but like...
Oh, it's definitely an action movie.
Yeah, and I will say one of my favorite movies he plays in, he's not even a big character, and it's actually a cameo, and that's Tropic Thunder. I think...
Yeah, that's totally different, but yeah, you're right.
I just love that he kind of went left field, but like, yeah. But yeah, there was some like issues I have with this film, like I feel like the volleyball scene was so unnecessary, but I know that it was like a selling point for the movie to get people in their seats because, as all horror fans know, you got to have some scenes that sells tickets.
Well, what sells?
Sex sells.
Sex sells. Yeah.
So that's why they did
it. I'm not saying I don't remember going to the movies to see this. I think it was a home video release for me because I would have been less than 10 years old when it came out.
That would have been like
I'm
the
sure
first
we didn't
few.
see it.
Yeah, that would have been like the first few times. I think this would have been like the first era of when VHS was really blowing up, right?
Oh, it would have been. It was a huge home video release, I know. Well, and let's face it, the story is not anything. The story is nothing fancy. Navy pilot, goes to an elite training school. He's kind of a bad boy. He learns his lesson by the end. it's very paint by numbers. That doesn't mean it's not fun.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this: a good friend of mine just retired from like 20 years in the Navy and 15 years working national security. He was a Navy guy. We were just talking one day, and he was like, "Top Gun's a desert island movie for me. I could watch it every day because it has meaning." He wasn't a pilot, but he was in the Navy. So for him, it hits home way more than it does for me. I just think it's fun.
Yeah. And I didn't realize, like, and after watches, like, there was a young Tim Robbins in this movie. Well, I didn't realize he was in this.
He was in it just a little.
Yeah. And I'm a fan of Tim Robbins. I'm like, I had no idea he was in. Yeah. So, but
young Anthony Edwards, years before he was on ER. He was Goose, man. And
everybody back in the 80s had a nickname that nobody does that anymore. Like,
and in the context of the movie, it makes sense because pilots have call signs.
But yeah.
I've never had a cool nickname. I don't want one now. I'm too old for one.
Also, it's amazing how many movies that James Tolkan was in, and how he typically plays the same character in all of his movies. He was the I don't know the exact rank of sergeant or whatever he was, but he played basically the same character that he did in Back to the Future with
that's what I think of him.
It's the same character.
Yeah. And to this day, not a guy I would mess with.
No.
I mean, I don't know if he's still living or not, but like to this day, that guy in real life, I wouldn't mess with him.
Nope, exactly.
And it's funny, like, even though like he was not like a major character in this, but John Stockwell's character, Cougar, like I kind of wanted more of that in a way. Like, I'm like, but of course they had to like make room for like Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer and all the other ones, but like, I mean, I never, other than like seeing John Stockwell in a few movies, like I hardly see him in anything really. He's mostly a director now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a Tom Cruise starring vehicle, so he's going to be on it. It's his movie. Even Val Kilmer, we're acting like Val Kilmer was a co-star. He was a secondary character.
Yeah.
Iceman, he's barely an antagonist. He's a lot of fun, but he's
the star of the movie
character.
is really Val Kilmer's teeth. Those things were perfect.
Wow. The views of Josh Matney do not reflect the views of the public. And of course, now I'm going to show my age again. To this day, when you watch the scene where Goose dies, it breaks your heart. I know it's kind of melodramatic, but movie deaths are. The Goose dies and you are heartbroken.
To me, like them doing that really showed like how well Tom Cruise's character and like how like their character arcs, like how close they are together. Because like they wasn't just like friends, well they were friends, but like they wasn't just like co-partners or whatever. Like they have history together.
Right.
So like, those stakes needed to be part of the movie to make it to me more interesting. Because if they didn't have that, I felt like it would have just been kind of a little too bland. It would have been too safe to go.
The dynamic between Goose and Maverick was my favorite parts of the movie.
It's the best relationship in the movie.
It is. And then Goose dying adds that element of stress and drama to this, what I wasn't really enjoying before. Then once Goose died, it became a different movie for me.
And it really was.
I actually like the second act a lot better.
Yeah, and it really wasn't a character that you like, okay, he's dead. No, you kind of hated that he died, but at the same time, it's like it made the movie really more interesting because Tom Cruise had to prove himself, Well, I felt like the whole movie really was Tom Cruise, Maverick, trying to prove himself to somebody, and I think Goose even said, when you're up there, you're chasing ghosts or you're. He was basically trying, I think, to outdo his dad.
Right.
Oh,
and you got some hints that something happened with his dad. If it was some kind of corruption or something negative happened with his dad in the military, and he was trying to make up, I think, for his name.
I thought his dad was also a pilot, and he died.
Yeah,
his dad was a pilot. Yes, but didn't his dad get discharged for something, or am I thinking of just a totally different movie?
I don't remember that part, but I haven't watched the movie. I didn't watch it for the podcast because I watched it 3 or 4 months ago. I don't remember that, but that doesn't mean you're wrong.
Yeah.
Other than my past experience with you, it doesn't mean you're wrong.
I know that there's a dynamic there where he really is trying to either live up to his dad's name or outdo his dad's name.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And so you got that throughout. That's why he shows off when he's when he's flying, and that's probably the first element I noticed of this movie when they were in their first training sessions, and just how dangerous this is. Like, yeah, I know it's a movie, but I would think that this is not too far off from what training of fighter pilots would be.
Because they're not just flying; they're flying.
They're maneuvering
for attack. Yeah, they're
maneuvering. They're maneuvering. Now he was doing tricks he shouldn't have been doing.
Right.
But I would think that a lot of these movers going upside down and all this stuff is part of the Top Gun training. That's actually a legit name for the school of this is Top Gun. And I'm thinking to myself, this seems so dangerous to me, especially if they make a competition out of it like they did in the movie. Now, I don't know if they do, but it seems so, and I'm sure like that's what you're signing up for, I guess, when you want to, you're in the Navy and you want to be a fighter pilot. This is what you're signing up for. It is dangerous. Like, that going in. I guess I just didn't realize how dangerous this could be. Not just the fact that you can wreck it anytime, but the fact that the maneuvers you're doing seems very dangerous. And I guess to prove that point, one of the stuntmen that they had was a pilot, and they had, during the shoot, him doing some of the stunts. I don't know if, probably some of the Mavericks stunts, and he actually ended up crashing and dying from it. And they dedicated the movie to him.
I'd forgotten that.
I must have overlooked that.
Yeah, so that's how dangerous that stuff is, as fun as it is to watch. And this is why I have such a hard time enjoying military movies or war movies or anything like that.
War military movie. This is basically a little exaggeration of, like, it's the badassery rebel character that
it's not meant to be a war movie. I knew that going in, that it wasn't meant to be a war movie.
Yeah, and going back to the Tom Cruise's character you mentioned with his dad, like, he's in the shadow of his dad, and I feel like he's trying to, like, figure, like, his own path out, but he keeps being overshadowed by his dad for whatever reason. And I think that happens with a lot of characters and stories, like, so maybe part of that is just him trying to, like, stand out, even though it's wasting, taxpayers' money is what the one guy said.
Yeah.
And, risking lives here, because, like, what was it? He flew too low a couple times. And it was like his fifth warning or something.
Yep. Also, I read that. Go ahead, Nate.
I was gonna say, I do like some of the individual scenes of the airmen together, like when they're at the bar and they sing "You've Lost That Love and Feeling" to the girl. That scene is just as famous as any other from that movie. The volleyball scene, those scenes are kind of self-contained in the film, but they stand out years later. I like the camaraderie. I like the story being told that, it's not all flying jets. And I like that.
And maybe that's a nice buffer, because, like, if it was strictly, like, all fighter pilots, then it would be almost like high octane and no time to just take a breather. Maybe that is what the movie needed, that made it kind of also successful, to have that sort of love story mixed in with it.
That's true.
I agree. I do like that Tom Cruise. I do like that Tom Cruise's character Maverick doesn't win Top Gun at the end.
Yep.
Yeah,
he doesn't win. Like the main character does not win. To this day, that doesn't happen.
That's true.
It's more common now than it was 40 years ago. But I like it. Don't get me wrong. Top Gun's not anywhere near my top 50 all-time films. But I can watch it and enjoy it.
Oh yeah. And this movie kicked off a bunch of like copycats because didn't they try to like
Iron Eagle came next?
Yeah, like like Thunder whatever, the racing version of it.
Days of Thunder?
Days
of Thunder.
Yeah, like there was so many other versions of this, and Jerry.
It's not one of my favorites. I don't like racing.
Yeah, and Jerry Bruckheimer, like he knows how to produce a good movie. I will say that because a lot of films he's done, I will say I've enjoyed, but
yeah,
I mean he's not the best by all means, but like
he knows how to have snappy dialogue, explosions, and women in skimpy clothes. I'll give him.
I think that's why him and Michael Bay work together so well.
Oh, Michael Bay's who I was thinking of. I take it back. You're exactly right about Brockheimer. I was thinking about Michael Bay. My apologies, Matinee, and my apologies to the audience. I've lost all credibility.
Oh, it's
one day I'll give you my dissertation on Michael Bay movies and why they're all terrible.
Yeah,
I didn't say they weren't fun, just all terrible.
So spoilers, season 3 is going to be all Michael Bay movies.
It's fine with me. I'll have a rant every week about Michael Bay movies. I do not mind. His movies are fun but awful.
That's funny.
Starting off with the Ninja Turtle movies.
So something else that I read about Val Kilmer in this movie is that apparently he is a method actor. It's sort of like Heath Ledger was, to where he has to, when he gets in character, he don't, while he's on set, he's not out of character. He's always in character. So the fact that him and Tom Cruise had a feud in the movie, he actually expanded upon that and refused to talk to Tom Cruise throughout this entire production. Like they did not speak. And it said that it basically added a level of tension to where, Tom was probably thinking, crap, he actually does have something against me. Right. And it added a level of tension. And then, I'm sure after the movie was over, he explained like why I did this and whatnot. I just think that's interesting when actors do that. Like
method
that
acting can be weird like that because like they, there's some that really gets in the character to the point where it's almost like it's crazy. Jared Leto is the biggest example of that.
Yeah, but he's a terrible example.
Yeah, he does stupid stuff.
Jared Leto's not that good of an actor.
No,
I think say that
probably Al Pacino's one of my favorite of the method actors, and trying to think of another one that.
I don't know.
I think Heath Ledger was a great method actor. Just what he did with the Joker was amazing. Now, I know
another role that he was good in.
Well, he was in a bunch of chick flicks.
Yeah, but chick flicks typically are not considered classic films. No offense to any ladies listening.
I mean, she's not.
Was it 10 Things I Hate About You? That was kind of a classic in the chick flick.
It's Taming of the Shrew in modern day, but it doesn't mean it's a good film. It's just a fun movie. I mean, I liked Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, but I can't tell you anything I ever saw him in that I was like, this guy's something. I'm not saying he wasn't, but all we ever talk about is The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger. Yeah. Much deserved.
And that's a
Let me just go down that road.
Like when you think of Heath Ledger now, all you do is think of the Joker. Like there's no other role you think of that he's played in. Well,
so what we've learned here tonight, folks, is that Nate hates Heath Ledger.
I have no strong feelings about him one way or the other. Yeah.
You have ruined the memory of the Heath Ledger here tonight.
Sorry about that, folks, but I mean, tell you how I feel. I had no feelings about him one way or the other. I thought he was good in The Dark Knight. I thought he was fine in anything. I don't think he was bad in anything.
Yeah.
Well, that was probably why it was so controversial when they casted him as Joker, because everybody was just thinking, what has he been in that is outstanding that he would be a good Joker?
Sure.
Although I would argue they probably said the same thing about Christian Bale.
Mm-hmm. Maybe for them to have a movie at that kind of caliber and to say we want to hire Heath Ledger, the the whatever the video shoot they do to kind of get the tryouts must have been really good for them to say,
Must have
yeah,
been
we
really
want this
good.
guy.
Yeah.
Well, and keep in mind, I know we're going way down a rabbit hole.
Wait,
that was in The Dark Knight came out in what, 2008?
Mm-hmm.
So it was probably filmed in 2006, early 2007, something like that. Twitter really wasn't a big thing. There was no TikTok. There was no Reddit. There was no, there was Facebook, but not like it is now. So
I do remember seeing like obscure images online in these like kind of like comic book style websites, but you know, you can't really, that was the early years of the internet.
Well, look at Ben Affleck when he was cast as Batman. They ready to burn his house down.
Oh yeah.
And again, take him or leave him, he was fine as Batman.
I was okay with it. I just thought the story was terrible, but you know, none of the actors were like garbage. I just felt like the production and the story was garbage.
So Tom Cruise has what I call the Tom Cruise movie formula. And it's cocky guy, lots of action, gets the girl, has a loss, redeems himself, either gets the girl back or gets a new girl, big action set piece, end of movie.
And it works.
But because Tom Cruise movies, they're fine, but they're all the same. And Top Gun, for me, is the first one of those. I mean, like Tom Cruise, I love the Mission Impossible movies. They're fun to watch. You don't have to do a lot of thinking. They're about Tom Cruise doing cool stunts.
Yeah.
And I can live
and
with
honestly, that was, when I think of Tom Cruise, I do think of the Mission Impossible over
me too.
most of the other films. And honestly, I forgot he was even considered I guess a romantic actor early in the 80s, you know, before he blew up with the action stuff. I kind of forgot.
He had some real dramatic roles, and I think he is a pretty good actor for what it's worth.
Like he's a good actor, like for what he does. Like I just, you know, the blockbuster stuff just really is his thing, and that's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with it.
Don't you go to work to make money?
Heck yeah.
He makes money from the blockbusters. Romantic comedies don't pay the bills for him.
And like I do, kind of like Will Smith, he does like a lot of sci-fi stuff too. That's kind of.
I used to love him in Minority Report.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the movie I was trying to think of
for a long time.
I actually really enjoy that movie. That's probably my favorite Tom Cruise movie, right there. Minority Report. Yep.
I liked the version of War of the Worlds that Spielberg directed that he was in.
That was good.
That was a good one. I like that one.
I saw The Last Samurai one time. I thought it was really good.
Wasn't he in a vampire movie? Interview with the Vampire?
Interview with the Vampire.
Brad Pitt was with him in that too. It was a Anne Rice book that was based off of.
Yeah, he has been, I mean, think about it. We're in 2022. He's been a major blockbuster star for 40 years, or every bit of it. And Top Gun was, I know, again, Risky Business is somewhere before that, and probably a couple other movies. Top Gun is the one that I feel like put him over the top. This guy's a movie star. Because there's a difference between an actor and a movie star.
Oh, yeah.
Movie stars open movies. You go to see movie stars.
And this is
otherwise you go to see the movie title.
Yeah, and like this movie contains like pretty well named actors. Almost everybody in here is like well known.
And looking back now, a lot of like Clarence Gilliard. He ended up being in Walker, Texas Ranger for years. That's not a bad career if that's the only thing he did, and it wasn't.
I always like when movies do that. You have like a cast that either is partly well known, or you can look back on and like they were
emerging.
They all kind of like how those teen comedies used to be back in the 90s and 2000s.
You're right.
They used to be like comedic actors that blew up later, or they were kind of well known at the time. And I just feel like I don't see that as much anymore. Where you can just look back on movies like, oh my gosh, yeah, all of them are like huge actors now.
Well, the whole industry has changed because now we cast people to act because they can sing and dance.
Yeah.
You know, we cast people because they were in a reality show, and none of them have any lasting anything. And I'm sure some of them do, but I can't name one.
And I get like marketing is a big thing for movies, but like I just feel like anymore, like if you just have a popular name, whether if you're a good actor or not, they're going to put you in a movie, because they did it with like Ruby Rose for a long time. Like they were Hollywood
there for a few years. You're right.
Yeah. And I think she just kind of fell off because like she really wasn't a great actor. Now she was okay in John Wick, but
yeah.
But like as far as like everybody else goes, like she was all right, I guess.
Yep, that's a good point. It's everybody has sort of the cash grab mentality. Like whoever's the most popular for whatever reason, it could not be an acting reason, just maybe an activist reason. And if they are an actor as an activist, and I think maybe Ruby Rose falls into that category, then all these studios want to pick her up and put her in, and then you realize, oh, she's apparently not that great of an actress.
Like they did it with a couple people during like the 2010s, and I just remember like, why are they all over the place? Like they're terrible. And I don't know, like the 80s and 90s, like I kind of wish you can still have that sort of like acting chemistry like you did back then, like where you just had these stars that were talented and then they just kind of blow up around the same time, or they just kind of, you can look back on it and be like, oh yeah, all of them are like huge actors or whatever now. But I
think we've entered an age over the past 20 years where the acting isn't as necessary or isn't as required, the acting skills, as your political views or your XYZ that we're looking for that we think we can make money off of.
I think maybe method acting ruined it. Everybody's trying to be a method actor instead of
I'll say this about method acting. It's fine. But if you're that good of an actor, you should be able to get back into character.
Oh, yeah.
You shouldn't have to live in your character 24 hours a day.
Yeah,
if you're exactly that good, you should be able to get back into that mindset. Like, what's the equivalent for somebody who's not in entertainment? Like Justin's in IT. He doesn't speak IT 24/7. He talks to us like we're people.
Right.
You're not talking to us in code, but if you had to, you could slip into it. I know that's not an exact comparison, and I don't have a problem with method acting. Good gracious, what do I know about anything? But
I mean,
some of the method actors have acted terrible on set. Maybe they're just jerks.
I think it's just the method acting way of like, you have to be in character so long to the point where if you're on the set, you probably first impression might be bad for you. You might go, this guy's a jerk.
Daniel Day-Lewis won an Academy Award for playing Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
He wanted people to call him Mr. President during the entire shoot. I would have laughed in his face.
That's an ego trip to me, man. Like, I feel like that's just a whole ego thing.
Jared Leto sent used condoms to the cast of Suicide Squad because he wanted to be inside the Joker mindset. Jared Leto's just a jerk.
I think when he blew up with like his band and he started getting more roles, his head just kind of,
And he won that Academy Award for Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah, that's right.
He was fine in that. It's a fine movie, but Jared Leto, if I saw him on the street, I'm not interested in crossing the street to meet him. He's not that kind of celebrity to most people.
Yeah.
He's just not. He's not what I would consider a movie star. Tom Cruise, I would run to meet. I don't like his religious beliefs. I don't have to. I may not like his political beliefs, but that dude's a movie star. I'd love to meet the guy.
And I guess that's a difference
Also,
between like movie star versus like an actor sometimes. Because like with actors, you got people like who does stuff for the art of it. I can't think of anybody at the top of my head, but you got movie stars. Guys. But you got like Tom Cruise and The Rock. They're movie stars, even though they may play the same character in every movie. They're there to make a blockbuster and be an entertainer. They're not there to be like.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's actually a really good point.
Keep all the awards you want. Give me a check. I don't need a trophy. Write me cut the check.
There's almost different classes of actors. There is the ones who are movie stars. They make the blockbusters. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's the biggest one of all time right now. And
no kidding.
Tom Cruise falls into that category. Arnold Schwarzenegger falls into that category. People like that. But then you've got people like Jeff Daniels, who they're not making. Edward Norton. You've got just people who honestly, I would put Hugh Jackman in that category.
In both.
in both categories. Like he tips the line in both because he makes blockbusters, but he is such a good actor.
Oh
Tom
yeah.
Hanks, Denzel Washington, same class.
Yes, exactly. So there are different classes of actors.
I agree.
Good point.
And look, there's whatever. When I go to the movies, I either want to be entertained, which is number one, or I want the movie to move me.
Mm-hmm.
And there are movies that just out of a movie like Munich, which Steven Spielberg made about the 1972 killings of the Israeli Olympic team. That is not a fun movie to watch, but man, it'll stir your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Schindler's List,
just like with Top Gun, it's fun.
Stuff
it's
like
over
that.
The top.
They're not fun, but they're message movies.
Right.
I realize I picked two Spielberg movies. That wasn't on purpose. Tom Cruise really doesn't make those. Mm-hmm. Top Gun's not a message movie, but man, it sure is fun.
Yeah. Like,
I don't think it's a great film. I think it's fun.
Yeah, that's what it needs to be. It's a fun, a little over the top movie. Right. If you want your sort of war military movie that has a message, go watch Jarhead or go watch Platoon or something that has more deeper meaning. But like with these are just like blockbuster. They're fun.
Not. Yeah, they're not thinkers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Saving Private Ryan. I think it's a great film. It's a good movie. It's well cast. It is about, the Normandy invasion and the aftermath. But it's hard to watch. It's a great movie, but you have to watch that one on purpose. You don't catch it halfway through on HBO and say, "Oh, good,"
Yeah,
Top Gun, you catch in the middle and go, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, the thing about war movies for me is, if there's one I'll watch one time, it piques my interest for whatever reason. I'll watch it one time. I'm probably never watching it again.
That's fine.
There's no reason why I would want to watch this again. It may stir some emotion, but I'm good after that. I think maybe my favorite, war movie, military movie would be Hacksaw Ridge.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's an amazing movie. And it's the message, that fits in with kind of what I believe. So it hit home with me, that movie. But, outside of that, I'm probably not choosing to watch, war movies in my spare time.
I don't watch them very often.
Yeah. I will say, like, watching this for the first time, like, really watched it, because, like, I feel like I've seen, like, bits and pieces of it throughout the years, and, like, the references, like, the music is iconic. The soundtrack is about as popular as the movie, I would say.
I knew more of the music than the movie, because I'd never seen the movie, but I was like, yep, I know all of these from popular culture.
I can probably watch it again, and I do think it has piqued my interest in, like, watching Maverick now. Just so, like,
I actually do want to watch Maverick.
Yeah.
I'm going to. I've just not gotten around to it.
Yep.
But yeah, didn't this soundtrack win a couple awards or something?
I think it should have if it didn't.
Like, that thing was like, it was a huge, like I said, like, I think before watching this movie, I think I knew more about the soundtrack and who was all on it, and, like, than the movie, really. But yeah, that's just
agreed. And I did like the ending of this, to where you had your antagonist of Iceman, and you end up having to be on the same team with him. You have to defend each other, and that's just military brotherhood.
Real life.
That's real life, right?
We've all worked with people we don't like.
Right.
And
yep.
I used to work at a nonprofit, and people would say, I really don't like such and such in the next office. And I'd say, you get paid twice a month to work here. You don't have to like anybody in this building. You have to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
There might be people I work with at the church that I'm not crazy about. I'm not going to say that, but it's possible that could happen.
The character of Val Kilmer, I forget, Iceman, like, he definitely is sort of the guy against Tom Cruise. But at the same time, I kind of get why he's not a fan.
But he's
Tom
not
Cruise's
a villain.
character. He's like, this guy's gonna kill somebody.
He's by the book.
Yeah.
You're supposed to root for the guy who's the Maverick.
Yeah.
Clever wordplay.
Mm-hmm.
Iceman's the hero of the story.
Yeah, the entire time I'm like, this guy makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's the good guy.
yeah. I never seen Iceman as the villain here, even though he was supposed to be, because it's like
Arrogant,
this is how. Yeah, a bit arrogant, but at the same time, he was only that way, I think, because
so good.
Maverick, because he was so good, he was by the book and so good, and Maverick was doing things he shouldn't have been doing and getting glory for it. So that was just ticking him off. It would tick anybody off if you were the top dog and you see someone come in who is an underdog and is doing showboating and doing all this cocky stuff, and anybody would be mad about that.
Also, young Val Kilmer has one of the most punchable faces ever.
Yeah, it does.
You look at him and you're like, I hate this guy.
Yeah, and his spiked blonde hair.
Yeah,
the frosted tips.
You've heard that term, punchable face.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a punchable face. I'm sure Val Kilmer's a good bro.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy. I loved him in the movie Willow, but he has a punchable face. You want to root against him, but he's the good guy.
Yeah,
that's right. They
Agreed.
decided Tom Cruise is the villain of Top Gun.
So
I'm a loser.
So we come to the conclusion that Val Kilmer's character is the hero of the movie. Tom Cruise is just the, arrogant. He not arrogant, but like he's going to cause some people to get hurt.
That is what's going to happen. I'm so sorry. I'm okay now.
He's the reason Goose died. There, I said it.
Tom Cruise. That's right. Maverick murdered Goose. Put that on a t-shirt. I'm gonna enter that one into TeePublic and make some money.
That's right. Okay, good stuff. Well, I think we've probably covered as much as we can with Top Gun. I was afraid I wouldn't have a lot to talk about.
It's not a thinker, but it's a fun movie.
Oh yeah,
that's all it has to be.
And also, that's the one thing with the 80s. They had a lot of those films that were just like that. And it's always good to have those. You can't just have...
We still have them.
Yeah.
Today, we call them superhero films.
Yeah. Yep. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I'd rather watch them than anything serious most days.
Well, if you have a long day, you don't really want to watch like a...
I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I'm under no illusions that they are masterpiece films outside of Empire. That's okay. The movies are made to have fun. Mm-hmm. You're made to enjoy, and it's okay to enjoy a movie like Top Gun. And if you think it's a classic, that's fine. And maybe it is. I can't speak to that.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's a classic.
It's how you define classic. From our context, I think any movie that is lasting in the culture that everybody knows if you watch it or not, that's a classic. Wizard of Oz.
And it's not a cult classic. The movie was made for $15 million. It made $180 million in the United States. That was a blockbuster.
Yeah, it's a blockbuster. It
made almost
classic.
$400 million worldwide in 1986.
Yep,
that's amazing.
It's crazy.
I'm done.
All right, good stuff. All right, so moving on to our next movie announcement that we're going to review. It's going to be our Thanksgiving movie, and we are going to do Addams Family Values. I don't know if when you think of Thanksgiving movie, if number one, do you think of any movie? Because I have a hard time thinking of any movie when I'm thinking of Thanksgiving. But Addams Family Values has a lot of Thanksgiving theme in it. So
Cannibal Holocaust?
Apparently
I'm going to vote no on that one.
Apparently Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was based around the Thanksgiving holiday. But I don't think I've ever seen that either.
Happens in the summer, but they do a Thanksgiving play. So yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Also, it's so fun.
It is. It is. Honestly, both of the Addams Family movies from the early 90s, I think are classics.
I would agree. Excellent
cast. It's just the perfect time for Addams Family during that time.
Yeah.
So, and actually, there's a new Addams Family series that's debuting in November. In this month, and it's called Wednesday, I believe.
Oh, so you're right. I can't remember the guy's name. He's a Spanish fella that's playing Gomez.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is that guy's name? Luis
Guzman? Is it?
Yeah, Luis Guzman.
Mm-hmm.
He played in Waiting. I really liked him in that.
Catherine Zeta-Jones is Morticia, right?
Yep, that's right.
That looks so fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good movie. There was actually a YouTube series on it was, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, where this lady was portraying Wednesday. She titled it Wednesday, and she was trying to get around the fact that she was copyright infringing. She wasn't using Adams at all. She was dressing in black and goth, and her name was Wednesday, and she was doing creepy stuff, and it was actually a very, very popular YouTube series until whoever owns Adams Family stepped in and stopped it. She was definitely, crossing the line using Wednesday and the characters of it. So,
can you still find it?
I don't know. Probably if you look up, I guarantee someone's re-uploaded some stuff related to it.
I'm looking while we're talking now.
It's really, I enjoyed it. Like I watched quite a few of the episodes and I enjoyed it. I'm hoping that the Wednesday series of Netflix will be similar to that. I'm hoping they just like, okay, we're taking that down and we're going to copy it because that's good.
I think it's so interesting when a fan-made film or series winds up being pretty good. And I think that's the same with Friday the 13th. Like there's a fan film series out there and they're pretty good. And I really wish they would find a way to like get those writers involved in future films because I'm like, yeah, these are fans and they seem to write pretty good. And, with your case with Wednesday, I'm like,
yep.
If I would have been the owner, I would have thought, I'd be like, well, yeah, they're kind of copywriting this, but let's kind of see if we can make this something we can sell.
There's a
George
fan.
Lucas. George Lucas allowed fans to do Star Wars fan films for years under the condition that they could not make money. Like they could spend money in that, but there are some really excellent Star Wars fan films on YouTube to this day that you can find, and I mean they're impressive. Fans have such a passion for the intellectual property. I like to see that. I agree they shouldn't be able to make money off somebody else's creation. I agree, but I think it's cool when the creators are like, "Hey, man, we like this. We'd like to buy this and bring you in." That's happened a few times with people.
I wonder how what the system was with the expanded universe of novels for Star Wars, because my understanding was anybody could make one, but you would have to submit it to Lucas Art Studio and Lucasfilms, and they would have to approve it. And if they approved it, then it could go to market. But I wonder, like, were you making any money on that? I would hope so. Like, that's a book.
I'm sure you would.
Yeah. But it's good. I think he's really good about treating his fans well and allowing them to show their creativity and not just be all about money. Unfortunately, Disney's in control now, so we're long past that.
There are still a lot of fan films that appear with like the Marvel characters in them, or maybe they're just old and I'm seeing them. Sometimes I'll just look for them. I think that's fun. It shows how much people love the characters.
Yep,
and that's what we're talking about with Wednesday. People love the Addams Family.
Yeah,
and also I feel like the fans can tell you more about like if they were writing like a script or something, they can bypass all loopholes and stuff that somebody who doesn't know anything really that well would really. It's like I feel like with Star Wars, you need fans to write for the series.
There's a reason the sequel trilogy isn't well liked by the diehard fans, and The Mandalorian is well loved. Because Jon Favreau is a diehard Star Wars fan.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
And again, this wasn't a Star Wars podcast, but I've talked about it.
We've talked about a lot. All right. Good stuff. Okay. Well, let's get into our closing quotes. So today's closing quote is going to be from Stinger, the James Tolkan character that I mentioned.
Right.
Maverick. You just did an incredibly brave thing. What you should have done was land your plane. You don't own that plane. The taxpayers do. Son, your ego's writing checks your body can't cash. You've been busted. You've lost your qualifications as section leader 3 times, put in the hack twice by me, with a history of high-speed passes over 5 air control towers and 1 admiral's daughter. Slacker. Go ahead and mix the two. All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Danger zone.
Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. We hope that we were able to entertain you at least for a spell. If you see value in our craziness and want to continue supporting us, please follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos, and share our content with someone you may know. Also, let us know how we're doing. Make suggestions for the podcast. Leave us a comment. Heck, send us an email. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on the Bottle of Pop Culture podcast.
Talk to me, Goose.
Please tell me you know how to fly.
I'm sorry, I didn't copy that. Over.
I said, do you actually know how to fly this thing?
Dude, you're supposed to respond with Roger.
You and Justin take this stuff way too seriously.
Roger, I completed 100 hours of flight training. Thank you very much.
Great! Where was that?
Flight simulator on the Xbox One.
We are all going to die.
Nonsense. This is going to be fun. Justin said we're all safe.
Speak of the devil. Wasn't he supposed to be flying his own jet?
Yeah. Let me see where he is. Iceman, you copy? Yo, Iceman, you in the air? Over. This is Iceman, and plans have changed. Couldn't make it up. Over.
What do you mean you couldn't make it up? This was your idea.
Listen, guys, I'm sorry. I forgot that I'm really afraid of heights, so there is absolutely no way I'm coming up there. You have to be kidding me.
Justin, if we make it out of this alive, I am going to punch you in the face.
That's Iceman to you, over. Listen, I have something to make it up to you. Just keep flying, and I'll send you some help. This should be golden.
He expects this to help?
You know what? It kind of does. I've got the need for...
No, you don't. Stop that now.
See, this is all fun.
Our Father, who art in heaven.
Are you praying?
Yes, absolutely yes. You are going to kill us, or I am saying my last words.
Huh. I'm not going to kill us. The biggest danger is the Taco Bell I had coming up last night.
Please, no. You need to land this thing now.
I'm fine. Don't worry about it.
Seriously, put this thing on the ground.
Okay, gosh. You'll need to get your pennies all in a bunch.
Tell me you did not just fart.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, smell. I can't breathe.
Okay, that really does stink. We should probably land now.
Oh, you think now?
Wait, what in the world is that?
What?
Something's coming straight for us.
We'll move so it doesn't hit us.
I can't. It's moving too quick. Oh crap, we just killed a goose.
You mean to say that this entire scene was leading up to the death of a goose?
Yep, that's right. And also, happy Veterans Day to all the brave men and women who have served in our armed forces for this great country.